Hey y'all, okay, so this is just kind of a real life, real conversation moment that we wanted to have as we were driving. We just left from just getting some little coffee at this cute little coffee shop that we came across, and we were just kind of talking about an interaction that I had with somebody that Jamal noticed was, to him, how would you call it? It was like a little abrupt, or like
it could have been looked at as rude.
Yeah. And I took offense to that because in my mind there was no rudeness, none whatsoever involved in it, because I knew my intention was not that, and on the outward it wouldn't have looked rude, I mean, like, I didn't say anything rude, I didn't do anything rude. It was just kind of, I ended the interaction abruptly. And so Jamal noticed that the lady still, it looked as if she wanted to continue the conversation with me, but I didn't realize that, because at that point I had moved on and I had just like already turned away to walk out. And so it looked, and she could have even felt like, well, dang, she just kind of said bye and like was out. But that wasn't, again, that was not my, of course, that wasn't my intention. I really was just like, okay, it was nice to meet you. And she was on the phone. And so then that's why I was even more so like, well, I didn't want to interrupt her. So I had to say that so that you could understand the background of where this conversation came from.
And I remember now what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
So it all ties in together. We were a few days ago. We had some really tense moments, and I believe it was all around perception as well. I can't remember what we were dealing with. I do, but I do now. But we'll save that for a later date. But so we were feeling a little tension around each other and a little distance. Okay, yeah, distance. It wasn't anything that most people would consider like harsh or anything. It was just something that triggered perceptions that started to trigger emotions and feelings or whatever. So we wanted to have a really quick candid moment, and meaning we wanted to just to hit record so we can catch something that we would consider as valuable for couples and married people, just people in relationships as well. Right. And one of the things that I noticed a few days ago was the distance and emotion, especially when it's kind of negatively perceived, or there's a negative thing or kind of a tense thing that's being held. It will always cause it will always cause you to be blocked. I'm sorry, I got to turn here. This is a weird turn, y'all. It will always cause you to be blocked from hearing God's voice and God's direction. There are a lot of things going on in our life, a lot of things that we need, and I'm speaking generally, that we need God to do, that we need God to speak, we need God to show up. And when we create unnecessary tensions and blocks, in our marriage, in our relationships, then that stops or that mutes the voice or the direction of God, kind of lifting you up out of your situation. So I was like, well, man, so once we got clear of that place, I was like, man, I don't want to be here, man. I don't want to continue to be blocked. We're always going to have situations of perception or whatever, but I don't want to. I had a conscious moment of like, man, we have to learn how to teach one another to not allow our perceptions to block God from moving. Really, God's always moving, so you're just blocking yourself from hearing God's direction. So when we had this moment just a while ago, which was cool, and we talked our way out of it, Chandra was like, well, she appreciated me not getting mad about her getting mad. And because that's what I do. You know what I mean? Sometimes you feel abused because somebody else is taking what you're doing as abuse. You know what I mean? And it turns into something.
How many people have experienced that? That you get mad because the person's mad, and now y'all both mad.
Yeah.
And it's foolishness. Going around.
Foolishness. And it blocks your deliverance.
Yeah.
In whatever moment that you need deliverance from. So this was just so it's just really key to understand that, because when you're married, when you're in a relationship, this thing is always going to happen. Why? Because we have our own experiences in the world. We've been conditioned the way we've been conditioned. We're not the same, and we know that. But nonetheless, we know it, but we still get trapped by it. You know what I'm saying? We still get imprisoned.
Yep.
So.
And what's cool though is that for as long as we've been together and married, like, we're still learning each other.
Absolutely.
You know, because you as an individual are constantly growing and developing, and you know, you're allowing, hopefully you're allowing God to shape you into this new person, you know, and into this person that you're striving to become. And so it's like, yeah, so you're always growing. So that means that the dynamic between the two of you should be growing and should be maturing as well, you know. So it's like, we remember times when we would get mad at each other.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, and this is what's funny. We've been blessed, I'll say it that way, we've been blessed to always have a good relationship. So it's not like we've had arguments and tension and strife and contention throughout our relationship, right? Outside of the normal crap. But at the same time, we remember getting mad at each other and being able to stay mad for days.
Especially me.
Especially him.
I would get mad at her because she got mad at me. And I would be so, man, I'm talking about, I wouldn't want to see her. I wouldn't want to talk to her for days.
Yep.
And this was my reasoning. My reasoning was, you should know I would never do anything to deliberately hurt you, ever. Even in my mistakes, my intentions are never and were never to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And because I knew that, when I felt her pulling back or when I felt her being angry, it would just totally disgust me, and I would just live in that place.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying that because most people feel like when they're really angry and when they're really mad at one another, and we ain't gonna make this too long. When they're really mad at you know, then they'll just, you know, for their reasons, they think that the other person is out to get them, or the other person is doing something negative. And no, all we're both doing is responding to our wounds. You know what I mean? So it's really key to know that if you're in a loving relationship, no matter all your pitfalls, you have to know, you have to stand on this foundation first. The other person is never deliberately and intentionally trying to hurt you. Once you find that truth, then it's a little easier to maneuver through. Mm-hmm. You know, the tough moments.
Yeah, because you just said the key point, when you're in a loving relationship.
Right.
That the person is not intentionally out to get you. If that's the case, then there's some other issues going on.
Right. So.
But I did want to touch back on the how the song got started real quick, because it's good to recognize as the individual why I got defensive. And that was because I felt like I was putting myself out there and I was pushing myself to do something, because I'm really like the type of person, I get uncomfortable around new people, and I kind of like feel sometimes intimidated of like having like a close interaction with someone. And so for him to say that it came across as possibly rude to this person, I immediately jumped to the defense, because I felt like, well, I'm putting myself out here and I'm trying to be you know, nice and cordial and open to this person, and then for it to only come across this other way.
Yeah.
So it's good for me to even acknowledge that, and then to have someone who is caring and open enough to allow me to express why I was frustrated with that, and to hear why I was frustrated to even hear him say that to me, you know. And I know, like he was just saying, he wasn't even coming from a place of trying to attack me. None at all, you know. So, but it's good from both sides. For the person who may feel attacked or who feels that they're being that they're coming against in some kind of way, it's good for you to really examine yourself and see, why do I feel that way? You know, why am I allowing this situation to take me all the way left field with it? And then for the other person to be able to hear them out and to say, okay, I can understand why you say that and why you feel that way and where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you do that, so exactly what you said, so that there are no blockages between you and God and anything that is keeping you from really excelling forward in your relationship.
Absolutely.
And in your life, because that's going to be paramount to you really, you know, reaching those new levels and new heights that the Lord is trying to take you to.
Right, because remember, everybody, it's really all about us individually. Everything that God uses to strengthen us and to grow us is used to individually strengthen and grow us.
Mm-hmm.
But the result of that in a relationship is a beautiful union that brings God, man, brings the oneness of God and shows the oneness of God. And it increases, you know, the authority that we have together. So that's really key. And to my men, please find some way to release your emotions and I ain't talking about physically, you know, I'm talking about we have to be able to communicate. Because one thing that I would always do is I wouldn't say certain things, like if I felt wronged, or I would hold it in and then I would just go off to myself and I don't want to be bothered, you know what I mean? But the result of that is always a destruction within myself. So, but the reason why I did it was because I felt stupid. I felt weak. I felt like if she knows that I'm mad about this, then she's going to think I'm weak. As a man, it's very uncomfortable to feel weak, to be weak, to express emotions, because it feels weak to us. We're supposed to be, you know, carriers of our families. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about it in a limited way, but nonetheless, that is a real emotion that we have. That is a real thing that we deal with, but we have to find our way out of it, because we destroy relationships that are supposed to be, because we don't know that that's okay for us. You know what I mean? So we don't want to make this that long. You got anything else?
Nope.
So I just wanted to throw that in there at the end for us fellas, and hope it makes sense, y'all. And we'll bring you something else on the next one.
Yep. That's it. See y'all later. Bye-bye.